Yo, what's up, Mo the Fro, back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about the M&T interview. So early decision just happened a couple days ago, November 1st, and a lot of my students have been asking me about how to prepare for the interview or about the interview, and I figured I'd make a video so that I wouldn't have to respond to all of them. Anyway, so basically, I'm going to give a rundown of the interview, and then give some general tips. The M&T interview, and just like most college interviews, is really pretty chill. Honestly, it's just alumni that are interviewing you in most cases. Like literally alumni like me. I mean, I had a friend just a year out who was interviewing students like a year after he graduated. And it's like alumni aren't trying to grill you. It's not like an admissions officer. It's not like they're really just like ordinary people that were just students like you and me. And they're just trying to help out, give it a little sense of the students, talk with students, give back to the M&T community a little bit. And the interview is really generally pretty chill. The questions they ask are usually along the lines of, do you see yourself more on the management side or technology side? Or like, why do you want to attend M&T? Or things that you should be able to like answer, especially if you're early decisioning to M&T. Just really basic questions. And in all honesty, the interview doesn't hold too much weight. Usually the weight is held by your application, the admissions officers read that, and your essays are really what are important, and of course your scores and just general application advice. But with the interview, the admissions officer or the alumnus that's interviewing you doesn't actually have access to your admissions file like at all. They have very limited information about you, and it's pretty much straightforward, simple, just like get to know each other, like kind of like tell me about yourself, how are you, and maybe tell me a little bit about kind of what your interests are, what your goals are, things that you really should have written about in your college essays. And beyond that, I mean, I think that there's not much else. Like, you can sometimes have like close connections. I've heard of stories where people talk hours with their interviewers after. A lot of the time they also ask, do you have any questions about M&T? Like, what are your recommendations on this? How do you feel about this? And like you get to ask those questions to the interviewer. And I think it's just a nice like session for you to kind of get acquainted with the program. That being said, there are some tips. First, you don't want to seem like totally disinterested or like unknowledgeable. You want to have some knowledge. You want to have some like good answers. I mean, you should have answers. You're applying to the program. You should have written these types of things in your essay about what you want to do in the future, what your plans with the program are, why you like that program, why you want to go to it. Those are things that you should really have answered. You shouldn't like just be totally like, yeah. Like, don't give totally lukewarm responses so that the reviewer doesn't relay the interviewer doesn't relay a totally lukewarm response to M&T and to the admissions office. So I would say that just be prepared, just be genuinely like, just be yourself. It's not too, it's really chill. Like, I don't know what else to say. It's usually not too difficult. They're not asking you like that many questions, and they're usually pretty simple questions. But of course, you still want to mention kind of, projects you worked on, like the biggest achievements maybe, but don't mention it like, don't just start flexing like, oh, I did this, like I built scaffolding like for this, and like I was, a millionaire by age 4. Like I attended Harvard at age 4, and now I'm attending M&T just for memes. Like don't try and hard flex, but be like, I want to attend M&T because like in high school, I kind of worked on all these projects. I really liked art and painting, and I realized that painting is actually just a money laundering business. And I decided that, I'm going to start painting and selling them for really high prices, but then it got to be too much. So then I started using like AI to do it. And like, I just had AI give me the inspiration for the paintings, and I made a website. And like, I just think that kind of thing is really cool. And I want to go to M&T to learn more about how to money launder. No, I'm just kidding. Don't say that. But I want to go to M&T to learn more about, how I could scale that. I think that it'd be really interesting. And like the interviewers can give you like advice and like kind of talk you through like, whether M&T would be good or not. Like I've heard totally chill stories from interviewers. So I really wouldn't worry too much about it, but you still want to come off as, well-spoken, come off as smart, have the things that you want to talk about like generally in the back of your mind. I mean, maybe mention your biggest achievement if they ask you why you want to go to M&T, and use that as a way to like talk about your interests, your passions, your goals. I mean, if that, the biggest things that you've done in high school should reflect your passions, your interests, and your goals. Anyway, you shouldn't be spending so much time on something you're disinterested in. So really, I mean, just be yourself and don't worry too much about it. In the grand scheme of things, the M&T interview doesn't have too much weight on your application, as I mentioned. especially like for MNTSI students who like attended MNTSI, you got to know kind of the staff a little bit through that. And it's even less important. They already know kind of your personality, how you function. Still like you don't want to get a reviewer saying this kid has no shot in MNT, like has no like synergy, has no, what's the word? Like just doesn't fit MNT. You don't want that. And of course they're going to be every once in a while, like very rarely. I've never heard of it, but there are still going to be some hardos every once in a while. I mean, my interview was a little bit like, the guy was just like he was a little bit, well, anyway, but my point is that you should really kind of just be yourself and not worry too much about it. And remember that, you just want to make it seem like, I don't want to write a bad review for you. Like, or like, I don't, as an alumnus, I understand you're a student. I understand what you're going through. I don't want to like make it difficult on you. And just remember at the end of the day, it's not like super important to your application, but still do your best on it. And, just try to like genuinely be, impressive and like come off as a well-spoken, strong, well-mannered person. With that being said, I think that's the end of this video. There's not much else to talk about. I mean, other college interviews are really similar if you're applying to other colleges besides MNT. But I know that you guys are like scouring the internet like, oh, like MNT, like I need to figure out this interview. Like I need to figure out all the questions like ahead of time. Like I was there. So I totally understand the fear, and I wanted to make this video to kind of maybe ease some of those worries and give a little bit of guidance and reassurance on the interview. So if you liked the video, thank you very much for watching. And if you didn't like it, but thank you very much for watching and sticking all the way through, and I'll see you next time.